Hey everybody, I'm making my stress tarts today and I wanted to share the recipe with you because I find this to be one of the most awesome recipes ever. We have boiling water over there in a big old pot with a lid on it to hamper evaporation.
Yep.
And this is a pot, it's aluminum, that I bought specifically from, I believe, Peak Candle Company. I use them for my candle wax and candle supplies. So I believe I bought this from Peak, my very first ever order, because I didn't have anything to melt it in. And it's really handy because you can just set it in the pot, in a big pot with a handle over the edge, and it can't get away. All right, so the first thing we need to do is, now you can do this with just a pound, but I do this particular recipe 2 pounds at a time, okay? So we're gonna turn on the scale, and now there's a scoop in there, Bridget. No, there's not. I like to use glass that's weighted. It digs better than plastic.
Here.
All right, so that's
You
a,
gonna put it on there?
I'm gonna let you scoop some in. I don't want it all over the floor.
Oh.
We'll see how much more we need. Okay, we hadn't even hit a pound yet, so I bet 3 scoops is gonna be us about right. I'll measure it again. Alright, let me change. I think it's this one. If not, we've screwed up. No, that's not changing. There we go. There we go. This is, well, it was 1 pound, 10 ounces. So if it was 10, we just need 6 more ounces in there because I accidentally hit the tare too. Oops. Oops. Okay. All right. So this is 2 pounds of Peak Pillar candle wax. And that's wax that's to be made in pillars or containers. No, it's container. No, it's pillar blend. Pillar blend. They said this was the best for making tarts and container candles, if I remember correctly. So go hang that into the boiling water pot. And we're going to measure up our essential oils.
Want the lid back on?
No. I don't want water to drop down into the wax
Yeah.
off the lid.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Grams and ounces and tare. Okay, now the standard amount used of essential oils or fragrance in wax is 1 ounce of fragrance to 1 pound of wax. So technically, I should just put 2 ounces of essential oils in this 2 pounds of wax. But on my stress tarts, I beef it up a little bit, and it's not a candle, it's an oil warmer. So the little cubes are just gonna be popped out into the oil warmer. So this will cause, and so it won't be a problem with it not blending well and bleeding and not throwing the scent and all that kind of stuff that sometimes happens when you put too much fragrance in wax for making a candle. We're not making a candle, we're just going to warm this oil up and get the scent out of it. So I put 3 ounces of essential oil into 2 pounds just on this particular recipe because it's a stress tart and I felt like it needed an extra beefing up. Now, I used to do this with lavender, but this is a stress tart, so we need French lavender. And it is 0.5 or a half an ounce of French lavender. There we go.
I like to crunch them.
The French lavender smells so awesome. Are you making a mess?
No, it's
You're
in the
making
box.
my wax smaller. It'll be harder to scoop out of there.
Nah.
She didn't believe me for a minute. All right.
I like crunching it.
A half an ounce of lime. And you can leave any of these out. It's just perfection altogether. All right, a half an ounce of ylang ylang, and I did a half an ounce of French lavender and a half an ounce of ylang ylang so far. A half an ounce of rosemary. A half an ounce of patchouli, and I am using Essential Depot products.
Do we stir the wax?
You can. The more you stir though with the spoon, the more you have to clean the spoon.
How about one of these?
Yeah, that's better. It's easier to clean. All right, a half an ounce of geranium. And a half an ounce of clary sage. I love clary sage.
Everybody does clary sage.
But clary sage is the one essential oil that I have problems in soap of people being allergic to it. All right, so I'm gonna move my recipe book over here. I'm checking to see if my surface is clean and dry before I put it there.
That
Now,
looks like it was meant for me.
this is tart containers. They probably have some other fancy name for it, but oh yeah, clam shells. Clam shells. I think they call them clam shells. Has 6 little places in it. You can get them that houses more, and they snap together. You can put a sticker label right here, so they're good and easy to sell and market. Then people can pop out one at a time. You want to fill them just right, you know, you don't want to overfill them to where you can't see the grid, and unless, if you do, which it's fine, if you want to put more wax in there and fill up past that line, then when they pop one out, it'll break pieces of the other ones beside it too, and you'll get little pieces everywhere. And I commonly will fill these all the way up because I charge $5 a piece for these because I put essential oils in them. How's the wax coming?
It's melting.
It's melting. What percentage would you say it's melted?
About 4.
Okay.
It's getting really good and melting.
And yes, the smell of these particular essential oils will take away your stress. So I'm going to use one of these little plastic bucket bowls that you can easily pick up at the Dollar General store or at the Walmart. And from time to time, I find them at the Dollar Tree for $1. I like that. Okay, so while we're discussing this, I buy the Peak candle colorant, and it is so concentrated, it lasts you forever. And they have different colors. This is the navy blue to country blue, and it shows you the different colors, like the lightest to the darkest. But you basically just put as many drops as you want in there till it's the color you want it to be. And so I have orange, blue, burgundy to mauve. Oh, the purple one is my favorite. And bayberry to eucalyptus, which is greens. And so that's the colors I have. And it does stain, so you do have to be careful with like I've got it on my hands now.
Gloves.
Just from that. So,
Gloves.
huh?
Gloves.
Yeah, I can wear gloves. Okay, so here it is. The pot sits beautifully on the edge of my pot, and there's the oil, the wax melting in there on my stove, and that's how we do it. I get the water boiling with the lid, but don't put the lid on once you get the wax in there. Don't even prop it on there, because the steam will hit the lid and then water will drop down in your wax, and we don't want water in our wax. All right, so my wax is melted, and I'm gonna pour it into this plastic container. If you use glass containers, it is a little bit better because the glass holds the heat and it doesn't quite seize up as fast, but this makes you be able to do it faster. And so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm gonna put 6 drops in there, and I'm gonna put my essential oil blend in there because it's under 160 degrees. I checked it, it's 140. It has to be under 160 to add your essential oils in there. And so we're good that way. Now I'm going to take and blend it up, and this should have brought it down the temperature wise quite quickly. We have to be under 135 for our clam shells. And I put blue. I think the stress needs blue.
Okay.
So, and because it's in plastic, it cools faster, but you will have more of your wax, I think, forming around because it's cool. Okay, so our wax is at 135. So we can start doing this. And now what you need to do
Let's fill it back up again.
is fill it up with another 2 pounds of wax. So now it's on pounds and ounces. There you go. All right. So now what I do is I lay my tarts out on the table and I pour like this. So I'm going to move the camera so that you can see that better. And this can be tedious because they're easy to overfill, but I just start in the middle and let them pour out, and I just fill them to just covering the little divisionary clam shells that you can see. You know, it does cause that when they get them out, there's a little bit more confusion about, you know, getting one square at a time, but the pack looks fuller, and I think my customers are happier with it that way. You have to be careful not to overfill because it's very difficult to clean these little things, the extra wax off of them, and get it looking tediously perfect. And to save space on the counter, I layer the lids on top of each other. I feel that one a touch full. Slow down, Kimberly. And oh my God, this smells so awesome. You are going to love this blend. And this is wonderful around the holidays for people to have burning in their tart burners when their cranky relatives are at the house. You can literally tell them that if they'll put this to burning in their tart warmer or oil warmer, whatever you want to call it, about 30 minutes before their relatives get there, and they put it in the same room that the relatives are going to be mainly in, that their relatives will actually be happier than they've ever had them be at Christmas or Thanksgiving. But I find that people can be particularly grumpy at Christmas in your home at the holiday. And so you can see that there's going to be a slight residue left, and this bowl will wash, but it washes out really easy. And now you cannot move these, you cannot do anything with them until they're perfectly solid, and then you have to be gentle with them or they'll crack when you do move them. Okay, so this is the label that I use for these. I buy these from Planet Label, and I'm gonna get this up here where hopefully you can see it. And that's just perfect for sticking on the top of these things. You can use a smaller label where more of the wax shows, but I find these to be really nice. They have a 2x2 that would be nice. This is 2 by 3.5, and you get 10 labels per sheet. And how many? 100 sheets come in the box. So 10 times 100 is how many you get, and these are so affordable. I love Planet Label for buying my stickers. And you can download the template for either PDF or Word off of their website, right where the label is. The templates are there to download, and then you just fill in the blanks and tell your printer to print. I have found that you print one sheet at a time. Don't try to put several sheets of this in your printer. The first sheet will go through fine, but the second sheet will not move correctly, and they'll be off. So you have to put one sheet in and say print. Put another sheet in and say print to get, or at least every printer I've had, this is the way it is. Okay, now our tarts or whatever have become solid. They're still warm to the touch. You don't want to close them up. If you've ever put bread in left a loaf of bread in the car and seen it steam up and the bread become wet and soggy, that's basically what happens. Water will rise up out of the product, form on the lid, and then drop down on top of your product, and you just have a thin layer of water sitting there that's quite annoying. So don't close these up until they come completely to room temperature, but you can move them now to another surface if you needed to, and it didn't take long at all for those to become solid enough to move.